Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Show here. And now, before we begin, let me give a little bit of a statement. This mini shot's gonna definitely be a lot more interesting. This is one of my, I want to say very older thumbnails, before I got a lot better at doing a lot of these things, with the images. Now, with that being said, I know this is an idea I have seen a lot of people do more commonly for the What If community. So, let us begin. We will start with Izuku Midoriya, who he had a very normal life. Like any kid, he was waiting to hear about his quirk. He wasn't born with it, and he was going to develop it. But that raised a lot of different questions. I mean, his mother is quirkless, and his father, he does work as a bit of a doctor. His quirk is medical, so hopefully Izuku can be more of a support hero, or maybe even be a bit more on the offensive line. You know? I mean, his dad is a surgeon. He has a good life going here. Everything has been good. Up until the day the doctors told Inko some very strange news. She believes that her son has a very odd ability. As far as they're aware, they need to do more tests with it. See a lot more about what exactly it can do. And this, Inko wasn't sure about. I mean, her son has the ability to emit green smoke. I mean, it's some sort of mist, possibly an aerosolized thing, a concoction. It doesn't really make too much sense. However, there was where the doctors they tried to do a lot more study. And someone, yeah, they decided about trying to test this mist against something living, like a lab rat. See if potentially there could be any harmful effects to it. However, yeah, it wasn't what happened whenever the rat was alive that concerned them. They performed some of these tests, and the rats were fine. However, after the rats were exposed to something else in the lab, they did unfortunately pass. However, when that green smoke was emitted from them, and they began to move again, after several hours of being deemed dead, yeah, that was what concerned them. They rose from the dead, and it was believed it was possibly due to either something in that lab or from a quirk, the same green smoke emitted by a 4-year-old boy. And that immediately raised questions with the doctors. And people, they wanted to know a whole lot more about this ability. And months, they began to go by. It was an entire case of paperwork. Legally, raising someone from the dead is abhorrent. Not in a, not possible. Just it shouldn't be possible. It shouldn't be done. And the paperwork tied to all of this, the moral ramifications of reversing death, what's going to happen? Those rats were in a cage, and after they were found to be alive again, they were destroyed with immense force. So, yeah, if this boy has the capability to bring back a living or unliving person, that means quite a bit more. And Asashi, he himself wasn't sure how to feel about this. His son has the powers of a monster. He creates the undead. And that he still was on the fence about. I mean, with his quirk, he could heal people. But with his sons, he does more than that. And currently there was Izuku, who after they finally were able to get some people to sign off on it, they had a body right there. And Deku, he gave them the sample that would provide the answer to the question. And after they exposed a corpse to Deku's gas, they saw exactly what happened. Deku, his eyes glowed in the next room. Meanwhile, the living dead, it began to look around. It beginning to move again. And this is where Deku, he could see through its eyes. He was surprised, bringing his hand up and going to do one simple thing. Someone turning their heads and seeing Deku as did to walk over, knocking on the door, trying to figure out exactly what's happening. And when they discovered that Izuku was able to control this thing manually, that's when things really started. His parents, they were truly horrified at what their son was, what he was capable of doing. Izuku, he wasn't too sure either. He saw how they acted, saw their fear, and he was just excited, happy to have a superpower. But people, they weren't. They were terrified of him. And that is what he remembers. That was the same day his parents decided to drop him off at the orphanage and denounce him as their son. And Deku, he does sit there, currently wondering about what could have happened in his life had he not manifested this ability. Would it have been better to be born quirkless? That's the question he's always had go through his mind. How is he supposed to be a hero with a very villainous quirk like this? All people will see him as is a freak. He'd rather be a mutant. And this is something that Deku does think about. Currently, him walking down the road with his hands in his pockets. Just annoyed. Curious. He wants to have the opportunity to use his quirk. He's got a part-time job, and the orphanage, it's not exactly doing too well. Some people have gotten adopted. Some haven't. Time has changed him. When everyone finds out what his abilities are, they run off. They look away from him, as if he's not standing right there in front of them. That's how it went the first, the second, the third, and the fourth time. And someone, they currently do go to walk into the building before Deku does come back and talk about it, telling one of the people working there about how he's home. Oh, good. Izuku, dinner will be done soon. However, I was going over a few bits of paperwork and it's okay. Hmm? I know. You don't have to try and pretend, okay? No one wants me. I'll be here till I'm 18, then I gotta figure some stuff out. I mean, I can help out more, you know. Don't just gotta be a burden. I'm saving some money aside. Oh, no, Izuku, that's not what I was going to say. Listen, I'm well aware of your unfortunate circumstance. People don't care about you. That's how you feel? It's true. I understand. That is how you do see it. But I don't think that it is. Then how is it? Sorry. Just leave me alone, please. And we got a turn. Walking away and going to his room. As currently she's look down at the paperwork and think. These people are looking at Izuku. They're looking to adopt him. I mean, it's a rather unorthodox circumstance, but it might be interesting. And Izuku, he does hear about the situation the next day, currently it being his day off. Him lying in his room and still trying to make a bit of a plan. Go to school on Monday, then go to work, then he's got Tuesday off, He works Wednesday, Thursday, then Friday. Ugh, God. At least he has the weekends off still, so that's good. But what should he do? I mean, after school, there's work, and then trying to get into all that. College? Right. Try to be a doctor. No, no. That feels stupid. It would take forever for him to actually become a doctor, and even then, what could he do? That's stupid. Stupid, stupid, stupid. This on his mind. Him being reminded of his father. Since it does seem like that idea does still linger. Another way to help people. And someone does going to knock on his door. Him going to walk over, unlock it, and open it. Yeah, what is it? Izuku, there are some people here who do want to talk to you. Do you have the time? Oh, uh, who is it? They're considering adopting you. The situation is rather interesting. I'd suggest you come with me. The lady gonna smile, as Deku does gonna follow her, being brought to a room and seeing a man sitting there. Currently, him with a tuxedo on, along with a... Is that a suit jacket, or what is he wearing? Yeah, you must be Izuku. Nice to meet you. Kirigiri bring up his hand. Deku walking over and going to sit down, without shaking it. The man bringing his hand down and expressing, as he did say before, he's been looking to foster someone. I see. And you're considering Izuku? Yes. Is that odd? It's pretty odd. The woman gonna turn, seeing Deku with his hands crossed, as he does express. People think he's a villain. Assuming he's already seen the file on his quirk that they gave him, most people run when they see that. Do they? Young man, can you assume what my quirk is? Looking at me? I don't know. Purple? Or something like that? Hmm. No. My quirk is more complicated than that. I have the ability to move through space. I can move from one location to another. Not instantly, but with relative ease. Really? That's interesting. Kirigiri going to stand, expressing, with his abilities there could be mishaps. Someone, if they're caught in between portals, they will suffer injuries if they do not make it all the way through before it is closed. He'd say that it's sharper than any knife, because it goes down to the very cells. If you're not through one way, the rest of you doesn't get through. How dangerous does he think that is? And Izuku does think about it. I mean, that's... Wow, that's a sharp knife. You alright? Uh, yes, I'm sorry. Just a surprise is all. That someone understands? A little bit. I see. Young man, I believe that it is only right for me to tell you most people who I have met in my life have thought I was a villain before. Look at me. My body is made of mist. Not exactly that friendly of a face. I'm sure you can understand. I am very apprehensive about most people I do meet. And, as of recently, I was hoping to help someone understand and change their mind about something. Understand the perspective they are faced with, and show them that they are not alone. The person staying there, before Kirigiri does express, if it is all right, then he would like to take him in. Let them know that the world is not a bad place. There are just people who are bad in it. That's all he does want him to see. There is no good and evil. There is no right and wrong. Just how people will interpret his actions. That is what he has learned. And the person staying there, they do look at Kirigiri a little more concerning. However, his words, they do seem to make sense. People are people. That must be what he's trying to say? Yeah. Though, they do see how Deku's acting. He's able to actually sit here and talk with this person. He's actually a little bit more enthused to do so. And they do sit there. Deku asks them questions and trying to at least understand their perspective a little bit more. And the man, he does pass many of the things they do perceive about him. Right now, the process is set in motion. And Izuku, he is actually a little bit more in a better mood. Before we do actually have where he is out and on his way home from work. He's got a lot going through his mind. The world might not be a bad place. It's an interesting one. Him gonna turn. Currently seeing an animal lying in the road dead. Him walking over. Bending down and seeing this creature. What is this? A few hours, maybe? 2, 3. Bring his hand out. Before he does stop. Him thinking about his quirk. Wanting to use it. Give it life once more. Help it? Perhaps. But still. That is a little bit more yikes. Are you alright, Izuku? Deku turning his head and seeing Karagiri. What are you doing here? This isn't what it looks like. I understand. You are curious about using your abilities. Do you wish to learn more about them? If I said yes, I don't know. What's the point in having a power if I can't use it? And when I do, people think I'm a bad person? Izuku, you're not bad. Everyone has already marked you as a villain from the day you got that ability. Don't you understand? I think I do. Yes. Now, what if I told you I can help you? How? Use your power. See exactly what you can do with it. Test its limits. Know more about it. What would you say to that? I'd be intrigued. Good. Now, when the process is all done, and we are able to meet again on proper grounds, I wish to show you more, let you know more. There is a doctor that I do know. You can meet with him and begin to test your powers. Izuku, nodding his head, feeling a bit more excited, happier, more enthused because he is not being chewed out. He's being accepted, not rejected. And this, it puts that smile on Deku's face a little bit wider. Him more excited for the day that he is going to leave this place. And Kirigiri, when he does kind of pick Izuku up, he is happy to go, saying goodbye before he does go to head out. The vehicle rounding a corner and driving in an alleyway, where Kirigiri does a step out of it and then going to open a portal. Him going to walk through as Deku does follow him. The two arriving in the bar as the doctor does sit there, expressing about a few things. About how he's happy that he's here, and how he would be happy to show him around his lab. In fact, there's a lot they would like to teach him, and a lot they'd like to know. Him asking Izuku if he'd like to demonstrate his quirk. And this does make Deku's eyes go a little wide, for he's at turn to Kirigiri, and the man is at a nod, as Izuku's at turn following the doctor. Currently, the door swinging open and revealing a small morgue. Him stepping in and looking around, before his eyes are set onto a body laying on a table. The room's cold, and it slightly does smell. But Deku, he smiles, a very wide grin, walking over as the smoke is beginning to pour from him, and his eyes do glow. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next one.